want to learn English at home alone, it can be overwhelming. It's normal. You don't know where to start, you don't know what to study, how to study it, and how to make it more impactful. In this video, I'm going to talk about how you can use 4 different skills of English to work on your speaking on your own and turn those passive practices into an active practice so that by the end of the day, you also practice your speaking skills. And no, you don't need any fancy tools. You just need 15 or 30 minutes of your time and your phone so that you can do these practices on your own. And trust me, the last one might change the way you see yourself as an English speaker. Let's start with listening. This is where everything starts. Why? Because listening trains your brain to focus, guess the meaning of the words that you don't know from the context, and get comfortable being in situations where you don't understand everything, just like real conversations. So how should you practice your listening so that it helps with your speaking? First, pick something to listen to, maybe a podcast, a YouTube video, or a story. Some of my favorite YouTube channels are The Diary of CEO, Mel Robbins, School of Life, Pick Up Lime, and many more. But it has to be something that you love listening to and you enjoy. If it's a long podcast, choose only part of it, like maybe 15 minutes of it, to listen to and practice in this way. So listen to that short part of the video without the subtitles first. This can help you to practice real life skills of having conversation with people that you may not understand everything in their conversation, but in this way you practice trying to guess the meaning of the word and going with the flow of the conversation even if you don't understand anything. When that 15 minutes is finished, then listen a second time, but this time with an English subtitle. This time you're paying attention to the new vocabulary, grammar, the collocations. By collocations, I mean the words that always go together. For example, you pay attention to the prepositions, the verbs that go with certain nouns and everything. And in this way, you're actually training your brain to think in English. You can also take note of all these things and write them down to review for later. This can help you memorize them much better. Then you need to listen to it for the 3rd time, but this time without the subtitles to check if everything is clear and review all the new information that you learned. So why 3 times? Well, each time you're practicing a different skill. The first time you're practicing understanding the general idea and guessing the words, following fast conversations, just like real life. The second time, you're improving your vocabulary and the language skills. And the 3rd time, you're trying to check if all is clear and you remember everything. Until this point, you're practicing your language in a passive way. But that's not enough, and it's not going to help you directly with your speaking skills. So what should you do? Now that you know the story, the new words and everything, you should use them and retell the story in your own words. Imagine you're telling what happened in the video to a friend, and even better, record yourself on your phone telling that story. Recording yourself is a bit more difficult, but it's a very powerful practice because you can track your progress and it makes your speaking practice closer to the real life. Because if you've ever tried to record yourself, you know how it feels. You start to feel a bit stressed and you need to collect your thoughts to be able to speak fluently. And just like that, you're practicing managing your emotions and speaking fluently. If you find it difficult at first to speak, then what you can do is maybe write down your ideas first. Writing can help you organize your ideas better and think clearly in English. Then, once you wrote all the things that you wanted to write, then put aside the notes and start speaking without the notes. As we said, imagine you're talking to a friend or record yourself. And just like that, you turn the passive practice of just listening to someone speak into speaking yourself. And in this way, you practice speaking fluently and confidently on your own. Now, what you can do to make your reading practices more effective is by reading and listening at the same time. Maybe if you're reading a book, you can listen to the audiobook at the same time. When you read and listen at the same time, it helps your brain understand and remember things much better. You use both your eyes and ears to receive the same information. And just because you're involving more of your senses, you will learn and remember things much better. This practice helps you to read faster too, because the voice is guiding your eyes through the text. You also have the power to control the speed. So if, for example, the audiobook is fast for you, you can slow it down, or if it's something that is easy for you to understand, you can speed it up so that in this way you can adapt it to your own level of listening. Reading while listening can also help you learn the new words and their correct pronunciation at the same time. And finally, it can help you become a better listener too. It's a great way to boost both your reading and listening skills at the same time. But again, this is a passive way to practice your English. How can you turn it into an active practice to help you with your speaking? There are two ways that you can do that. First, you can try the shadowing technique. How? Pause after each sentence and repeat it out loud and try to copy the pronunciation and the rhythm of the speaker.
Deep work versus shallow work.
Deep work versus shallow work.
The situation of the knowledge modern workers.
The situation of the knowledge modern workers. Second, when you're done with the paragraph or a chapter, you can sum it up and record yourself, as we did in the previous practice. Again, if you find it difficult to say what you think, first write it down to organize your thoughts, and then you can speak. In this way, you're combining the reading, listening, speaking, and even writing all in one practice. Writing is a skill that is often ignored, but it's very important, even more essential for introverts. Because as an introvert, you have a lot of thoughts in your head, and you need to have a space to organize all these thoughts. So writing is a very helpful practice to speak English fluently and confidently in an indirect way. It gives you a safe space to think, make mistakes, and learn from them. You don't need to write a novel or a very long text. Just journal a few sentences about your day. What did you do today? What did you learn? What do you want to do? What are the things that you want to remember? Write anything that comes to your mind in English. It's all about training your brain to turn all your thoughts into words and sentences in English. And the more you write, the more confident you'll become with expressing yourself in English. And over time, this practice will train your mind to think directly in English and stop with the translation. This is the skill almost all non-native speakers want to improve, but is often the scariest one. Why? Because with speaking, you need to put everything all together. It's no longer only about your English language. You need to think fast, remember all the words, the grammar and everything, think directly in English, listen and then reply to the person. So everything goes together. It's a very fast-paced skill, so you need to train your brain to think directly in English. How can you do that? You can start with small practices in a safe place and expand your comfort zone little by little. If you find speaking very difficult at first, you can start by speaking to yourself. This is the easiest way. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, then you can record yourself while talking about a book or something that you've heard. These are great practices that we mentioned previously at the beginning of the video too. Many people resist the idea of recording themselves because they don't like hearing their own voice. That's absolutely normal. Even professional actors don't like hearing their own voices. So don't let this stop you from doing this practice, because it's a very good practice on your own to deal with your emotions, to manage your stress, and also think directly in English in a safe place. When you listen to the recording, you can check your pronunciation, your mistakes, and see what you're good at or what you need to improve. Having self-awareness and knowing exactly the problem can be very helpful. Once you feel comfortable talking to yourself and recording yourself, then you can take it a little bit further and maybe practice with AI. In this way, you can have immediate feedback.
Let's practice speaking English together. I want you to be my English teacher. Ask me questions and correct me if I make a mistake. Let's start by talking about my day.
That sounds great. Tell me about your day.
These are great practices to do on your own to feel comfortable and practice speaking. But remember, these practices can take you to a certain level, and it's great. But if you want to get further than that, you need to have practices with people in real life. But it's very helpful to start small and little by little expand your comfort zone. So be consistent and patient, and I'm sure you will get to that place that you can speak English fluently and confidently. I hope you found this video helpful. If you want to work on your speaking skills with a holistic approach, then check the link in the description. Now, what's your favorite way to practice English at home? Let me know in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.